Maritza, feel free to tell us your story.
So I already told you a little bit of myself. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and I came to Boston, where I currently live with my husband and three cats. We raised three boys who are young men now, and uh, and eventually my mom came to live with us after soon after she retired because it was evident that she was presenting symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. Right then, we knew that we needed to do more, and I started. I connected first with the Alzheimer's Association, which was instrumental in my education about Alzheimer's disease, and also connected with the resources, and um, and it all just developed from there. Mom came to live with us for a couple of years, and she went through the entire process of the disease. Eventually, because I was working full time as an educator and eventually as a principal of a school, and also raising three boys with my husband, it became too much. And we had to move her. We went through that whole process. We had to move her to an assisted living with a really good memory care program, which was not far, was only 5 minutes from my house. So I was still able to be very involved in her care. And um, and then the past 4 years, she was in a nursing home, actually at Hebrew Rehabilitation Center, their memory care program. Um, and Unfortunately, it was mid-September when her symptoms began to, she was really declining. Her decline was very slow, and she was able well, she was there, and it was obvious that she was in the end stages of life. And I just returned last night, actually, from being back home in Puerto Rico, where we held her funeral services, and we laid her to rest. It was a powerful, sacred time with family. Um, I've learned so much. There's a lot of heartache with this disease. There's also a lot of good things that we can all take from it. And being a part of research was definitely something that we needed to do. I needed to do it. I needed to take this bull by the horn and say, no, this does not define my family. This will not define myself. If I have to live with it, I will live with it. But we need to find definitely better treatments. And we're talking about 20 years ago. I started getting involved in research about 15 years ago, and I've been involved in observational research as well as clinical research. And so I have seen a lot, and I'm still learning a lot. And happy to share with you anything that you want.
Okay, I'm Angie Aldebol, and I'm the study partner of my husband, Dennis. My interest in Alzheimer's disease began about 12 years ago because many members from both sides of my family, including my maternal grandfather, paternal grandmother, several paternal uncles, died or were dying from this disease. One of my uncles had early onset Alzheimer's. He was in his early 50s when his symptoms began. So I saw firsthand the emotional and physical toll that caring for them took on my family over the years. For example, caring for my bedridden uncle, my aunt dismissed her own symptoms until her gallbladder burst and she almost died. As an only child, I lost both my parents and maternal uncles at a young age, too early to know if they would have developed the disease. Then, 12 years ago, I started having some sporadic but worrisome memory difficulties. For example, one day I forgot how to turn on the wipers on my 10-year-old car. Another day, I couldn't remember where the emergency brake was, and I had to call Dennis for help. Once a woman stopped me at the supermarket, called me by my name, but I did not recognize her or remember where we have met. Turns out we had been in the same food co op for many years, and the food distribution always took place at her house. So, considering incidents like these and my family history, Dennis and I decided to attend some Alzheimer's Association events and signed up for their trial match. Finally, in 2017, we were contacted by Brigham and Women's Hospital for a clinical trial. We were interviewed and given a cognitive test. This test didn't show any meaningful cognitive problems. Actually, we did quite well, even though we thought we didn't do as well. The next step in the eligibility process was for the researchers to obtain our medical records. Well, Dennis' health was excellent, but I have multiple comorbidities, including 35 years of type 1 diabetes and kidney disease. As a result, I was told that I did not qualify for the study because it required multiple MRIs and PET scans with tracers or dyes, which could worsen my health. Dennis, on the other hand, was offered a PET scan of his brain, which showed some accumulation of the protein amyloid, a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. With no cognitive deficits and an elevated level of amyloid, he was the right candidate for the A4 study, a clinical trial for a drug with the potential to clear amyloid to prevent Alzheimer's disease. We joke about him being an accidental research participant, while I became his study partner, a requirement for most studies. My job as a study partner was to accompany him to all his appointments and answer numerous questions about my observations of his daily functioning. As a result of these experiences, I have seen how hard researchers are working toward preventing, detecting, treating, and eventually curing Alzheimer's disease, and how much progress has been made in the last 10 years. I have seen how much these researchers care because many of them have had loved ones with the disease. That is one reason why I'm all in, why besides being Dennis' study partner and also volunteer to participate, I also volunteer to participate in other studies. Let me talk about that a little bit. Although I have not been able to participate in clinical trials, I have been involved in several observational studies. One such study consists of a series of tasks presented as card games, focusing on different aspects of learning and memory retention relevant to everyday life, including attention, face and name recognition, and remembering grocery items along with their prices. This long-term online assessment occurs over a span of 7 consecutive days, about 20 minutes per day every 6 months, and it is designed to track subtle changes in cognition over time. The primary goal of this study is to improve early detection and monitoring of Alzheimer's disease and related dementias during the stages when interventions are most likely to be effective. Another study, which also aims to monitor subtle changes in cognition and functioning, but in a more engaging way, consisted of playing 4 fairly familiar games on an iPad provided to me and connected to the internet. I was to play a minimum of 5 days a week for 20 minutes each day for 4 months. However, I often played much longer than that And I wish the study could have lasted longer than 4 months. I was hooked. Each day, I also completed a survey to rate several environmental factors that could affect performance, such as sleep quality, energy level, mood, and one's personal perception of cognitive functioning. This study had a sub-study in which I wore a provided Apple Watch 24 hours a day. It investigates the feasibility of tracking vital health metrics such as heart rate and sleep and correlating them with one's performance. I have also contributed by donating blood for various research studies at MGB, and my blood is now part of a national blood bank specifically for dementia research. I truly believe that doctors will find a cure, and I hope to see it happen in my lifetime. I want it for my family, my kids, for all of us. That's the reason why I participate and will continue to participate in research studies. That's why I have joined MADRAC and became a research ambassador. I truly believe that together we can pave the way for a future where Alzheimer's is no longer a fear for our families. Let's join hands and make a difference in dementia research. Together we can change the future for ourselves and generations to come. I encourage each of you to consider participating in research. Remember, Alzheimer's and dementia research cannot happen without participants. Contribute by joining the MADRAC registry and aiding in this vital research. Thank you for your attention and many thanks to all the researchers and participants for the dedication. Now, Dennis, I pass it on to you.
And just to briefly introduce Nasim, she's one of our wonderful research ambassadors who wanted to share her experience through a video. So just give me a moment.
My name is Nasim Kasam.
You guys able to
I am
hear?
not a public speaker at all, so please bear with me. This is the first time ever I'm talking on a Zoom. I joined MRDC about a year ago, and I really like it. I have been doing research for the last 40 years, but not in Alzheimer's, different type of, my jobs were all involved with research. I recently retired, but I joined because my mom, especially my mom, we lost my mom in Alzheimer's. And she got it at a later age, which was around 80 years. But then I'm also very nervous because my dad's side of the family has also got Alzheimer's. And that was the main reason to join and to be helpful if I can in any way. Helpful in any way that I can, so that in research. And here I am. If you have any questions, I really like joining the research group, and I'm learning something every day about myself. Luckily, so far so good. No signs, but you never know because I'm still only in my 70s, and the Alzheimer's in my family has developed after in the 80s. So I'm still not out of danger. But that's all I can say right now because it's only been a year, and I love it. Since I've done research all my life, I hope I can be some help. Thanks.
Well, all right. Well, thanks, Ellie, for pointing that. I'm Dennis Chen, Auntie's husband, as you have heard. I'm a retired engineer and computer scientist. I'm a research participant and a research ambassador at Mass General and Brigham, or MGB. I'm also a person with mild cognitive impairment due to Alzheimer's disease. Angie has told you that I was in the A4 clinical trial at the BWH. A4 stands for anti-amyloid treatment in asymptomatic Alzheimer's. It started my journey in Alzheimer's research and advocacy. It opened a new chapter of my life after retirement. And this journey has been a wonderful and rewarding experience for me. Since A4 ended in the mid-2023, I've also participated in some of the observational studies that Angie has mentioned. And to be honest, I had just as much fun as she did. Currently, I'm participating in a tau PET imaging study at MGH. You may already know that tau tangles and amyloid plaques are the hallmarks of Alzheimer's. The way I got my early diagnosis is probably not the way most people got theirs. I received my diagnosis through screening for the A4 study. Since I had no symptoms at the time, no doctor would have given me a PET scan for amyloid plaques, and not to mention insurance certainly would not have paid for it. Therefore, if not for A4, I would not have known about the amyloid plaques that are accumulating in my brain, and I would most likely still be in the dark and without a diagnosis today. Of course, no one wants to hear that dementia may be in the future, and we do. We're not quite sure how to react to the information at first. However, if you ask me today, I would tell you that we are glad we found out about it early because it gave us time and incentive. Time to learn more about the disease, to prepare for the possibility of progressing to Alzheimer's dementia, and to take actions now to slow down the disease, such as eating a brain-healthy diet, exercising more, and improving sleep. Angie is right to call me an accidental trial participant. However, if I knew then what I know now, my participation in research studies would have been much more proactive and intentional. Since I have been in multiple research studies, both clinical and observational, I would like to share my experience as a research participant at MGB. But please note that other study sites may offer similar or different experiences. I will also try to answer some questions that people interested in clinical studies have asked me in the past. So I'm going to go through some of the more mechanical part of being a research participant. But first of all, the Center for Alzheimer's Research and Treatment at BWH, CART for short, has some of the most friendly, caring, and supportive people that we have ever met in clinical settings. If you are like me, you will probably wish that every doctor's office was like CART. Although the A4 study ended in the summer of 2023, Angie and I still stop by CART to say hello to the research staff whenever we are at the hospital for other appointments. We have also participated in observational studies at MGH, and our experiences there have been very positive as well. Every study requires participants to sign a consent document at the very beginning. This document contains detailed information about the study, so it is worthwhile to spend some time to read it carefully and ask the study coordinator or doctor any questions you have before deciding if the study is right for you. Many studies provide a small monetary compensation to acknowledge the participants' effort. Depending on the study, some will pay for parking at the hospital garage, and some will even arrange and pay for Uber or Lyft if you prefer not to drive. For a long visit, some study will also provide a voucher to the hospital cafeteria, so you and your study partner can enjoy a meal and relax a little before going home. Some drug trials, like the A4, have potential side effects or risks. These risks are highlighted in the consent document and will be carefully monitored and managed by the study team. For example, one of the risks of the A4 study drug is something called ARIA, that stands for amyloid-related imaging abnormalities. There are ARIA-E for swelling and ARIA-H for microbleeding in the brain. Because of this, throughout the multi-year trial, we have regular MRIs to check for ARIA, and if the scan is positive, the study doctor will go over the results and suspend the infusion until the swelling and bleeding resolves. Besides periodic tests of cognitive functions, we also have regular blood and urine tests, as well as physical exams, to make sure that we are physically fine. If they see something concerning that is unrelated to the study, the team will inform you and notify your primary care physicians so you can follow up with your own doctor. Some study drugs are administered intravenously in individual rooms with comfortable recliner, ensuring privacy and comfort for activities like reading, surfing the web, catching up on email, or even taking a nap during infusion. To keep you comfortable and relaxed, they will also offer you a warm blanket as well. Your study partner can also stay in the room with you, so you won't be alone. And by the way, the nurses are very skilled. I have never had bruises or blood draws or IV infusion over the years at CART. Data and information from the study are not entered into our medical charts. They are kept separate and confidentially. But you should read the consent document carefully and discuss any privacy or confidentiality concerns with the study doctor. Also, if you are planning to go on vacation or need to reschedule your visit for any reason, the staff are very understanding and flexible, and they will work with you to make the schedule work. And you can find many dementia-related clinical trials and other observational studies that take place in Mass General Brigham on the Madrid website. Select Join a Study under the Research tab at the top right corner. You will see a list there that includes not only studies for Alzheimer's, but also other types of dementia, such as Parkinson's or frontotemporal dementia. Successful research needs more diverse participation, especially from the Asian, Black, Hispanic, and Native American communities. Participating in research is the best way to ensure the interventions and study results will apply to you, your family, your relative, and people in your community. One of the advantages of being in the Boston area is that you can always find a study that is interesting to you and that you are comfortable with. Even if you don't see one today, there will be another one coming up that will catch your interest. Thank you for joining us today and for your attention. I hope this information about participating in research studies was helpful to you and interest you in becoming a research participant.